Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver. My mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea, and today what we're going to talk about is actually the acidity in foods, and also that green tea is actually an alkalizing food. So when we have a look at our diet in general, Western, European, or also the North American or American diet, how it is called, there often we encounter highly processed food, we encounter very acidic foods, so our bodies are very much exposed to the acidic part. Also when you go, for example, to sports and you do strong interval training, so exhausting training, or also weightlifting, there you push a little bit more acidic levels in your body, meaning that we could experience acid reflux, for example. Some people do have that, or we just have kind of an acidic feeling in our body. We feel tired, we will not feel very productive, we not feel strong. Also it affects our sports, it affects our performance. So what we want is actually an alkalizing diet. And for example, here, this chart I brought you with me, you can see that you really have the more processed food, which are the more acidic kind of foods, like for example also alcohol, unfortunately. And on the other side we have alkalizing foods like vegetables and other things. And when we dive into the the segment of tea, there we have two different kinds of teas which are very known. When we just look at the broad category, on the one hand we have green tea, and on the other hand we have black tea. And black tea is also a little bit more acidic due to the oxidation. But as the vegetables, the green tea is steamed, so it doesn't turn into black tea, and then actually it is very close to normal vegetables. And normal vegetables, as we have seen before, are actually teas, or are actually foods that are alkalizing, and so it is with green tea. But today I want to dive into a special green tea which is especially alkalizing, and this is actually the Bancha. So Bancha, this is the tea I brought with me. Maybe it doesn't say too much if we are just looking. So what we can see when we look at the leaves here, we see that the leaves are actually a little bit more yellowish. They're not this deep dark green which we know from a shaded green tea. So it is a tea that is coming from more mature leaves, older leaves. Therefore it's not that high in caffeine, because the young tea sprouts, they really have to protect themselves from the bugs. That's why they produce especially the caffeine. Here with the more mature leaves, this is not necessary anymore. Often the bunch is coming from the second or third harvest, and therefore this tea is a tea which is also coming from thicker leaves. They have a high mineral content, but also they're very soft to the stomach, and that's also the experience I have. It is also, and this is for me a good quality sign, that it is a very soft tea. It is also actually one of the only green teas that can be drunk by pregnant women. It is high for tea, it is pretty high in iron, and it has a lot of minerals. And this tea, therefore, I often drink it if I do a sports session, or a session where I have a lot of alkalizing or acidic pushing things I do, or I eat an acidic meal. Often this tea is the go-to for me when I want to have a tea session which is including a very soft but still a green tea. That's why I think this is also one tea that is often used and consumed by the Japanese after a meal. It is often said it has properties for good digestion, which would even support more the fact that this tea is more alkalizing, and after maybe we have an acidic food to kind of balance out more into the alkaline or alkalized way. Good. So what we do, super simple also with this tea, we just take Just take 5 grams. Then I have a 70 degrees Celsius water, which is around 165. With this tea, you can even go higher. So you can also go to 175 Fahrenheit, 180 Fahrenheit, and which would be then 80 degrees Celsius. So a very simple tea. It is also quite affordable. So for example, for a Bancha, you can find Banchas around 10 to 15 to $16, 100 grams. Meanwhile, when you go for a high quality green tea or kind of top-notch green tea, when we talk about Gyokuro, there the 100 grams, they can be 35 up to 72, $75. So there we definitely are in the higher price range. Here this tea is super easy, everyday tea, which you can drink regularly, and also the value for money proposition is really good of this tea. Good. Then the brewing. So you can see 1 minute is more than enough. I think 1 minute you should give it, but after 1 minute you already have a very decent brew. So what you can see is not this typical strong intense green color. Here we are more in the kind of the golden spectrum of this tea. So a very, very nice tea which just brews simply. The more a little bit yellowish leaves gives it a little bit more of a golden liquid. When I smell the leaves themselves, so there I don't have this typical kind of fresh, kind of spinachy green, sweet corn flavor which I get from a typical high grade long shaded tea. Here it's much more wooden notes which I'm getting, like sweet wood I'm getting a lot. A little bit this dry leaf, not dry leaf, so a little bit of wet leaf flavor. So it's much more kind of a little bit earthy, much more wooden, much more kind of in this direction where I get the kind of the smell notes from. And now let's have a look how the tea tastes. Yeah, it's super, super different to normal green tea. It's super smooth. Kind of has a little bit more of a slight hayish flavor profile, but a lot of the wooden notes, the sweet wood notes, are beautiful, very soft, very smooth. So it's just a kind of a not a very energetic. It's kind of a nearly a little bit of a cooling down tea. Here I'm using hot water, but it's just kind of this taste profile, which is much lower energy, smoother, and not so so strong and not so pushy, and also not so energetic. So it's a very, very good tea after for me, especially when I do something energetic like sports. This tea is just amazing. Or you go in the relaxation phase after your meal. So this is very, very beautiful. With this tea also you can brew it for several times. Normally green tea, you know that we brew it for 3 times. This you can even go after 6 to 7 times. What you have to know is like the first 3 brewings, they're a little bit more in this direction of kind of a taste intensity. These wooden notes are very, very present. Then after the 3rd one, the tea gets lighter, and it develops a little bit this kind of beautiful sweetness, nearly a little bit of a sugary note. And that's something which I like a lot about the tea. It's kind of loses a little bit in its strength, but still has this super nice kind of a little bit sweetish notes, which you're getting after the 3rd brewing. So definitely a tea you can brew for longer throughout the whole day, and a very good tea after sports. And I guess that's it, what I wanted to tell you about this one here. If you want to leave a comment, ask a question, feel free to do so. We're happy to answer them. Until then, I wish you a great day. And if you ever need Japanese green tea or high quality Japanese green tea, have a look on our webpage, neoteas.com. Thanks a lot for watching. See you and bye bye.